today we are going to continue chapter number 8, framing of constitution and its feature, lecture number 11. Friends, in this chapter, up to now, we have discussed about the framing of constitution, that how our constitution was framed, what was the reason behind framing this constitution, who gave their efforts in framing, in helping us to frame our constitution. We discussed that our constitution is a live document. We also discussed that changes can be made in our constitution. It is not permanent or rigid. As per the expectation of the people, as the time spans, as the future expectations, aspirations, as well as the wishes of the people, amendments can be made in our constitution, and that is why it is considered as the live document. We discussed how our constitution was framed. When the Britishers decided to give India independence, they sent the cabinet mission to India to discuss about the Indian independence. And as per their report, they submitted a report in which they suggested to frame a constituent assembly to make the constitution of India. And as per the recommendation of this cabinet mission, the constituent assembly was framed. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was made the president of this constituent assembly. Several leaders like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, female leaders like Sarojini Naidu, Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, they all contributed in making our constitution. They made the drafting committee under the chairmanship of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. People from different geographical diversities, different region, different caste, different creeds were made the member of this drafting committee. They met for 166 days in a period of 2 years, 11 months and 18 days, and at last on 26 January 1950, our constitution was implemented on us and we became independent. So we became republic on that day, and it was due to that reason that every year 26 January we celebrate Republic Day. Friends, we discussed about the preamble. Preamble is the introduction of the constitution. We discussed about preamble as working as a compass to show the direction to the country about the aims and objectives of this constitution. It solves any misinterpretation regarding the constitution. It reads the mind of the constitutional framers, and that is why preamble is considered as the soul of the constitution. Friends, we also discussed about the democratic country, in which we discussed that democracy is a Greek word in which demos means people and kratos means power, means the ultimate power in democracy lies in the hand of the people. The people selects the leader of the country through the medium of elections, and that is why the person elects the leader instead of choosing in the heredity. Here the person, if the person is constitutionally eligible, he can contest the election. Each and every citizen of India is considered equal in the eye of law. That means each and every person is treated equally in our country. We discussed on the several factors like secular country, socialist country. After that, friends, we are discussing about the basic features of the constitution, in which we discussed several features like the written document, size of the constitution, structure with strong federal structure. We discussed about, in our previous lecture, we discussed about the 3 types of emergencies, unified arrangement during crisis, we can say, single citizenship. These were some of the basic features that we have covered up to now. Friends, let us move towards understanding other basic features of our constitution. Friends, today the basic feature that we are going to cover, that is parliamentary system. First, let us move towards parliamentary system. Parliamentary system. Let us move towards the first parliamentary system. Let us understand about the parliamentary system. Friends, India has a parliamentary system of government. India has a parliamentary system of government, we can say. In a parliamentary system, the parliament, in a parliamentary system, if we are talking about the parliamentary system, the parliament is the supreme authority representing the people of India. Friends, here it is said India has a parliamentary system of government, and when we are talking about this parliamentary system of government, in a parliamentary system, the parliament is considered as the supreme authority that is representing the people of India. Whichsoever person is elected in the election, he becomes the member of the parliament. So friends, here it is said we are having the parliamentary system of government in our country, in which the parliament makes the important decisions of our country, and the person who is becoming the member of parliament, that is elected by the people through the medium of election, and that is why it is said that this parliamentary system is considered as the supreme authority who is considered as representing the people of India. They are discussing the matters related to our country in representing the people of our country. The highest legislature if we talk about the highest legislature, means the highest legislature of the country, the highest legislature of the country, which is at union level, is called parliament. What is parliament, friends? Here the explanation about parliament is given. Here they said the highest legislature of the country. As we all know that we are having the three organs of government, right? You will learn that in our further chapters about the organs of the government: legislative, executive and judiciary. These are the three organs of our government. When we are learning about legislature, in legislative, when we are talking, the parliament is considered as the highest level among the legislature. So the highest legislature of the country, which is at the union level, central level of our country, is called parliament. That is considered as the parliament. If we talk about the parliament is bicameral. It means
the parliament is bicameral. It means it has two houses. That is, it has two houses. That is, the upper house. It has bicameral means it has two houses. The upper house and the lower house. Right? We are having two houses in the parliament, the upper house and the lower house. If we talk about the upper house, here the upper house is called Rajya Sabha. The upper house is called Rajya Sabha and the lower house is called Lok Sabha. The upper house is called Rajya Sabha and the lower house is called Lok Sabha. So friends, here you can understand what is the meaning of bicameral. Bicameral means the parliament with two houses. For example, in America, there is only one house, that is the White House, right? So they are not having the parliament with bicameral, means two houses. We are having a bicameral parliament, that means the parliament with two houses, that is the upper house and lower house. Upper house, that means Rajya Sabha, and the lower house, that means Lok Sabha. So friends, you might have understood about the parliamentary system, which is again the basic feature of our constitution, that our country should be bicameral only. Our country should run on the basis of parliamentary system. This is again important feature of constitution. Let us understand another basic feature of our constitution, that is independent and impartial judiciary. Friends, let us understand another basic feature, that is independent and impartial judiciary. Another basic feature of our constitution, that is independent and impartial judiciary. Friends, we discussed just before while I explained you that there are three organs of the government: legislature, executive, and the third is judiciary. In our constitution, the judiciary has been given the work to give justice to the people. Friends, here it is said that our constitution has clearly declared that in India the judiciary should be independent and it should be impartial. No partiality should be there. So let us understand this basic feature, that is independent and impartial judiciary. As per the constitution, if we talk about this judiciary, as per the constitution, the judiciary is an independent body. The judiciary is an independent body which works impartially. Friends, the very basic and important point is that as per the constitution, the judiciary is an independent body. It is an independent body of our country. No executives can interfere, no ministers can interfere in the working of judiciary, and that is why it is said that it is an independent body which works impartially without doing any kind of partiality. This organ is working. It is kept independent. There is Supreme Court at the top. There is Supreme Court at the top. Then High Court at state level. There is Supreme Court at the top, High Court at state level, and under there, and if we talk under that is High Court and Supreme Court. Under their jurisdiction and under the jurisdiction of this High Court and Supreme Court are the district courts and district level. District courts are there at district level, we can see, and at taluka level. If we talk about the taluka level, there are local and special courts. Friends, as we all know that as per the constitution, this judiciary is an independent body which works impartially. It is totally working as impartial independent body. Now when we talk about the court, about the judiciary, Supreme Court is considered as the apex court of our country. Apex court means the topmost court of the country. The decision of Supreme Court is final. So at the top is the Supreme Court. Under Supreme Court, at the state level, we see the High Courts, and under the High Court's jurisdiction, we can see lots of district courts working at district level. At taluka level, we see some other courts and special courts like the civil courts and all that. So friends, here we can see the whole information about the different courts that is working at different level in our country. Here we say the judgment of the Supreme Court is or we can say are the judgment of the Supreme Court are binding. The judgment of the Supreme Court are binding to all subordinate courts. The judgment of the Supreme Court are binding to all subordinate courts in the nation. Subordinate courts in the whole nation. In the case of conflict, in the case of any kind of conflict between union and state government, if there is any conflict between union and state government, matters relating to constitution, matters that are related to constitution interpretation, constitution and interpretation of law. And constitution and interpretation of law, the final decision is vested with the Supreme Court. Friends, here it is said that the judgment of the Supreme Court is binding to all subordinate courts. All the subordinate courts has to follow the judgment given by the Supreme Court. Each and every court that are under the Supreme Court, they have to follow the judgment of the Supreme Court. In the nation, if there are any kind of conflict between the union and the state government, if there are having any problem related to matters that are related to constitution or there is any kind of interpretation of law, all the final decision it lies in the hand of the Supreme Court only. If the Supreme Court gives any kind of decision that is final, no one can go against the decision of the Supreme Court. Friends, here it is said, the Supreme Court of India is the highest. If we talk about the Supreme Court of India, is the highest court of our judicial system. Supreme Court is considered as the highest court of our judicial system. And so it is also called as the apex court of India. It is also called the apex court of India because the Supreme Court is the highest court of our country, and that is why it is considered as the apex court. The Supreme Court regulates the High Court, the Supreme Court at different states. The Supreme Court regulates the High Courts at different states and also other lower courts. Friends, here it is said, the work of the Supreme Court is to regulate the High Court, to give suggestions to the High Court as well as the other courts, other lower courts lies in the hand of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court regulates, takes care about the high courts that are working at the state level as well as the local lower courts that are working at the district and taluka level also. So the work of Supreme Court is to regulate also to the other courts working under it. If we talk the Indian judiciary is independent. The Indian judiciary is totally independent of all executives and legislatures. It is independent of all executives and legislatures and is also the defender. It is also considered as the defender
guardian of our constitution. Friends, here it is said the Indian judiciary is totally independent of all executive and legislature. No one can interfere in the working of judiciary, and it is also considered as the defender and the guardian of our constitution. It guards that whether all the working of the government is done according to the constitution or not. It is working as the defender of the constitution as well as the guardian of the constitution. So that is why the courts play very important role in our country, in any democratic country, to give justice to the people, to work as a defender and guardian of the constitution. So friends, today we discussed about the two basic features, that is the parliamentary system and the independent and impartial judiciary. We'll discuss about another features in our next lecture. Thank you.